What if one event could change the course of history in the Middle East? In the late 60s and early 70s, the Middle East was a powder keg waiting to explode. The Six-Day War of 1967 had left deep scars on the region, with Israel's swift victory over neighboring Arab countries leading to a bitter aftermath. In the ensuing years, the war of attrition simmered, further exacerbating the tensions. The political landscape was fraught with territorial disputes. Israel's control over the Sinai Peninsula and the Golan Heights, territories seized during the Six-Day War, was a thorn in the side of Egypt and Syria. The Arab nations, backed by the Soviet Union, sought to regain these territories, while Israel, supported by the United States, was determined to retain them. As the tectonic plates of power shifted and collided, the stage was set for a conflict of epic proportions. As the sun set on October 5, 1973, the Middle East stood on the brink of a war that would leave an indelible mark on its history. On the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, war erupted. This was the Yom Kippur War, a conflict that would shake the foundations of the Middle East and have far-reaching implications for the world. The 10th day of October, 1973, was the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. But instead of a peaceful day of prayer and fasting, the people of Israel found themselves caught in the throes of war. Egypt and Syria, bolstered by support from other Arab nations, launched a surprise attack on Israel. The timing was deliberate, chosen to catch Israel off guard, and initially it seemed the strategy was working. The Arab forces made significant gains early on. Egypt successfully crossed the Suez Canal, breaching the supposedly impregnable Bar-Lev line, and pushed deep into the Sinai Peninsula. To the north, Syrian tanks rolled over the Golan Heights, threatening to break into the heartland of Israel. Israel, caught by surprise, was on the back foot. Their forces were spread thin and the situation looked dire, but the Israeli spirit was unbroken. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Israeli defense forces fought back with a ferocity and determination that stunned their adversaries. Every soldier, every civilian understood what was at stake: their very survival. The streets of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa echoed with the sounds of sirens and explosions, but also with the resolve of a people determined to defend their homeland. Israel, against all odds, began to turn the tide. They managed to halt the Syrian advance in the north and started pushing the Egyptians back across the Suez Canal. It was a testament to their resilience, their courage, and their indomitable will to survive. The Yom Kippur War was a brutal and bloody conflict, a desperate struggle for survival that tested the mettle of the Israeli nation. But amidst the chaos and carnage, Israel held firm. Despite the odds Israel endured, turning the tide of war in their favor. The echoes of the Yom Kippur War still reverberate today. The dust of physical battle may have settled, but the political and territorial landscape was forever altered. The war's immediate aftermath was marked by significant changes that redefined the Middle East. In the wake of the war, the Arab nations for the first time acknowledged Israel's right to exist. This was a monumental shift in the narrative of the Arab-Israeli conflict. The war also catalyzed a change in Israel's territorial boundaries. The Sinai Peninsula, occupied by Israel since the Six-Day War in 1967, was returned to Egypt in a phased withdrawal that spanned several years. But perhaps the most significant outcome of the Yom Kippur War was the Camp David Accords. This peace treaty, facilitated by United States President Jimmy Carter in 1978, marked the first formal recognition of the State of Israel by an Arab country, Egypt. This was a historic turning point, a glimmer of peace in a region long embroiled in conflict. The global repercussions of the war were also profound. The Yom Kippur War triggered the 1973 oil crisis, when Arab members of OPEC proclaimed an oil embargo. Western countries, primarily the United States and the Netherlands, who supported Israel, faced oil shortages and economic strain. This crisis underscored the global interconnectivity of politics and economics and highlighted the strategic importance of the Middle East in global affairs. The Yom Kippur War was not just a regional conflict. Its impact echoed far beyond the borders of the Middle East, influencing international relations and shaping global policies. It marked a key moment in history when the world was reminded of the intricate web of alliances and conflicts that define the geopolitical landscape. Indeed, the echoes of the Yom Kippur War still persist. The war reshaped the Middle East, and its effects continue to influence the region's political dynamics and global relations. The alliances formed, the peace treaties signed, and the territories exchanged all trace back to this pivotal moment in history. The Yom Kippur War reshaped the Middle East, setting the stage for the conflicts and alliances we see today. The Yom Kippur War was more than a conflict, it was a catalyst for change. The echoes of this war reverberated far beyond the borders of Israel and the Arab nations involved, shaping the political, social, and cultural landscapes of the entire Middle East. The war's impact was felt on several fronts, one of which was the resurgence of Arab nationalism. The united front presented by the Arab nations during the war and their initial success against Israel boosted their collective morale and solidified a sense of shared identity. This newfound unity, however, was not unbreakable. The eventual defeat exposed fissures among Arab countries, leading to shifts in alliances and power dynamics. On the Israeli side, the war brought about a profound transformation within the society. The initial shock of the surprise attack on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and the heavy losses suffered challenged the nation's sense of invulnerability that had been built up after the Six-Day War of 1967. This led to a period of deep introspection and a reassessment of their defense and foreign policies. A new emphasis was placed on peace negotiations, culminating in the historic Camp David Accords with Egypt in 1978. Globally, the Yom Kippur War altered the perception of the Middle East conflict. It highlighted the complexities of the regional dynamics and underscored the need for a balanced approach towards peace. The oil embargo imposed by Arab nations during the war also demonstrated the global economic implications of Middle East politics, prompting a re-evaluation of foreign policies by several countries. In essence, the Yom Kippur War was a turning point, a moment of realization that the status quo could not be maintained. It broke down old paradigms and opened up new pathways for dialogue, negotiation, and understanding. It taught us that peace is not just the absence of war, but a process that requires courage, compromise, and a willingness to change. The Yom Kippur War, a moment in history, continues to shape the future of the Middle East. Thank you for watching our video on the Yom Kippur War. We hope it has provided a deeper understanding of this pivotal moment in history and its far-reaching implications. If you found this video insightful and want to learn more about historical events that have shaped our world, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. We also invite you to suggest topics for future videos in the comments section below. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning,